Hello, welcome to EJ Sport. My name is Guy, and I'm going to be doing some predictions for the WWE Extreme Rules. Now, I haven't done it in the card order, I've done it in a very specific order, which I'll explain later, but I'll also be doing a breakdown of shenanigans and without shenanigans, because shenanigans happens a lot in these wrestling matches. Now, the first one I'm going to do is the one on the pre-show. Well, it's been advertised as the pre-show anyway. Dolph Ziggler versus Baron Corbin. Now, I don't really get this match. I guess they've got to try and find something for some certain wrestlers to do, and to try and give some exposure to Baron Corbin, I suppose, since his WrestleMania win at the Battle Royale. Now, Dolph Ziggler, he's beat him a few times on the build-up to the main event, and I gotta figure that because Ziggler had a win over Corbin in the last pay-per-view, Payback, I think Corbin will go over on this one. So my prediction: Corbin. The Usos versus the Club. Now, I thought this might be pre-show because the stipulation in the first match is no disqualification. But the reason why I actually think it won't be pre-show is because I think there might be some, how you put it, some detrimental effect to the later results coming to the rest of the show. Now, the Usos have kind of demolished the Club, or Gallows and Anderson, over recent weeks. It's been the same stuff, the same matches almost week in, week out, and they haven't really booked the Club that well. They have not made them a force to be reckoned with yet. I hope that WWE do give them a bit more gusto, but ultimately we'll see. However, I have chosen that the Club will be victorious in this case. I think that of course there will be certain elements of interference, but I just think that I think it would be their time, and it might give us a little bit of hope for later on in the pay-per-view. Now, Dean Ambrose versus Chris Jericho. I get they're trying to push Dean Ambrose, I really do, and they're trying to make him more of a Mick Foley, if you will, of the more recent time. Now, Chris Jericho, I don't really get why he keeps focusing. He's almost to the near of his the end of his career, and I guess again it's a focus for Dean Ambrose to keep him occupied, whilst there's no real reason why he should be in any of the title bouts at the moment. So because of the nature of the match, and it's the first match, got to go with Dean Ambrose for this one. Mainly because he lost to Chris Jericho at pay-per-view the last time round, and I think Dean Ambrose really kind of deserves that little bit of a push. Chris Jericho was there for that reason. I just hope it's better than his last similar type of match with Brock Lesnar, because let's face it, that was a letdown. Now, the next one is Kalisto versus Rusev for the US title. I'm not per se opposed to Kalisto having the US title. I just think the US title deserves more of a prestige, and it's better off on Rusev. I can't say that I would be happy if Kalisto would be retaining the title, but ultimately John Cena is due to return, and there doesn't appear to be much of a storyline there if John Cena were to face Kalisto for the US title. Assuming that John Cena wants the US title, of course, being the face of the company, I'm sure him and Vince might have a conversation about which title he wants to go for. But he did so well with the run with the US title and his US title challenges and things. It was kind of a builder. It was kind of thing that was winning the fans over again, because he was getting a lot of criticism and a lot of boos for being just big match John and stuff. So he, I think that with John Cena coming back, the title's better on Rusev, because there's more of a feud there to actually work with. Now, New Day versus Vaudevillians. I'll have to explain this one because I've gone with Vaudevillians. Now, the thing is a lot of people will be like, "What? They don't deserve it. They don't." But here's the thing. They've been, since they've come onto the main roster, they've kind of had a few good matches, and they've not really sparked. They've not really kind of got the hate. So they've not really got the not the hate. They've not really got the heat, shall I say, from the crowd. They've not really made much of an impact since they've come to the main roster. Now, New Day, the thing is that they used to be a heel team. They turned babyface probably in the last 5 months or despite WWE's best efforts to make them a heel team. People loved them. People loved the Unicorns. People loved the Brutios, and I think they just, there's no way you can call the New Day a heel team anymore, like they used to be. But the why I've gone with the Vaudevillains is because by winning the championship, the tag team titles, it actually gives them the heat that they need to be good heel tag team champions. I think that the reason, there are also other reasons why I think they'll win the title, but mainly because I think that ongoing there will be a storyline with Big Cass and Enzo to try and challenge them. You put the Dudleys in the mix and stuff like that. I think that will be a good sort of, because you've noticed how they keep teaming up the Vaudevillains up with the Dudleys, and it's kind of been prior to Enzo Amore having his injury, there was a small feud between the Dudley Boys and Big Cass and Enzo Amore. So I think that could tie up a couple of good, decent matches in things like SummerSlam. That could be like a 3-way tag team title match. But I think the Vaudevillains are going to win. Charlotte versus Natalya for the women's title. Here's the thing. With shenanigans, Charlotte all day long. But I kind of think that the WWE will find some way of getting Rick Flair. The thing is that she's one of the best heel women. Unless they have some use of Dana Brooks to come down and assist, I really don't feel like there are any other heel women that can take the heat from the crowd as much as Charlotte does. So I kind of think that everything's telling me Charlotte will win this. If it's a clean wrestling match, I actually think Natalya's probably got what it takes. I mean, Charlotte's she's been awesome recently with some of her spots, especially her moonsaults have been just awesome. But I think if there's no interference, I tend to think that Natalya will probably edge it. but I'm going with Natalya as a clean win. But if there's shenanigans, Charlotte. I got to go with Charlotte, because if Dana Brooks comes down, or somebody like an interference from a referee from Charles Robinson, I just think there might be it won't be a straightforward match. Now, the reason why I've left the Intercontinental till the second to last, the penultimate match, is because I think it's a little bit more complicated than so. The Intercontinental title: Miz, Cesaro, Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens. Now, I'm loving it at the moment with the Intercontinental title scene. Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, Cesaro. I like them all. The Miz is a solid worker. He's not he's a good heel. I don't really like his character. I think the WWE play on it a little bit too much. And his wife, Maurice, is it? She gets on my nerves slightly, but that kind of makes sense, really, because that's really what they're trying to do with the heel thing. But yeah, it works because I don't like them. But now, this might be slightly controversial, but a lot of people have been saying that Sami Zayn or Kevin Owens is going to win the title. So a lot of people are saying that Cesaro or Sami Zayn will win, and I think that's slightly optimistic. I think that Kevin Owens will win it. Here's why. I think Kevin Owens will win back his title, and Sami Zayn will go on to face him and get a rematch or whatever. But actually, no, I'm changing my mind, because I think if you give Kevin Owens the title, what's happening with Miz and Cesaro? So I'm going to say the title, Miz retains. I'm going to say Miz retains. I've just changed my mind. I know that's unusual whilst you're doing but no, I'm just thinking about the ongoing storylines, and Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens kind of writes itself, that storyline. And if you give the title to either one of those two, what are you doing with Miz and Cesaro? I genuinely think that you don't have much of a storyline there between Miz and Cesaro. So if you leave the title on Miz, you've got Cesaro to do that again. So Miz, I'm going for the Miz. I have changed my mind. I was going to go with Kevin Owens, but I'm going to stay with the Miz. Now, Roman Reigns versus AJ Styles for the WWE WWE title, the World Heavyweight title. Now, everybody, the mindset is just that the public want AJ Styles to win. The WWE have given up on trying to make Roman Reigns a babyface, and making him this neutral character, the guy. But as much as I think AJ Styles has what it takes, I think he if it's a completely unshenanigans, no interference, nothing. If it is truly a wrestling match, then I think Roman Reigns wins. I do think AJ Styles has got what it takes, but ultimately Vince doesn't really make stars of people that have come from other wrestling companies. What did he ever do for a lot of the WCW stars? Not a lot. AJ Styles getting the push that he's got is commendable, but I don't think he'll win it. I think Roman Reigns' reign will stay on till SummerSlam. Unfortunately, I think it's going to be a while before we see Roman Reigns dethroned. Now, there's a lot of speculation over what's going to happen in the Roman Reigns versus AJ Styles match. Now, despite the stipulations and everything else, and being Extreme Rules and people interfering, I think that there will be some interference. I do think that the Gallows and Anderson will come down to ringside. I do think the Usos will get involved somehow. Is it time for Gallows and Anderson to turn on AJ Styles? Some people are saying yes. Some people are saying we wanted that at Payback. And if they don't do it this time, we're just looking at exactly the same result, and the storyline hasn't moved on inside 3 weeks. So ultimately, yes, there's time. I mean, there's also a rumor that Seth Rollins is ready to return and to come out as being the leader of the club, which I think is a bit far fetched. I'm not saying that. The thing is that I think it's more likely if Seth Rollins were to return, he could turn Roman Reigns heel. Here's my thought. So during the match, we have Usos get involved, Gallows and Anderson. Come down. The thing is I think that if you take Seth Rollins out of it, Gallows Anderson come down. There's talk of Finn Balor. I'm ruling out Finn Balor even showing up. Mainly because he's booked to do the takeover match with Samoa Joe. Really don't think that they would have Finn Balor head two main storylines on two different shows. I think it would be difficult for them to work that in, because as much as Vince likes to think that all of his... Well, no, he doesn't think. He knows that he knows how to read his audience. There's no way he would tell that everybody that Finn Balor's now going to be running on the main roster, and then expect people to believe that he's got every chance in beating Samoa Joe at the next takeover. So just don't buy it. Don't buy Finn Balor turning up. So Gallows and Anderson coming down to ringside, turning on AJ Styles. Yes, maybe. But what if Usos are taken out, AJ Styles, Roman Reigns, and are heading off with Gallows and Anderson in the ring, and it looks like that AJ Styles is going to do a number over, on Roman Reigns, and enter Seth Rollins. He comes down with a chair in hand, and he gets in the ring, and he stands up face to face with Roman Reigns, and as it gets really, really intense, he's sort of gesturing for the title belt, and he turns and he clubs AJ Styles, but instead of he clubs AJ Styles, Anderson and Gallows don't do anything. They just get out of the ring and they walk away. That doesn't link the two together. The Seth Rollins aren't linked with Anderson and Gallows. Anderson and Gallows just don't get involved. They just walk away. I I'm sure they can probably work that in. I'm not entirely. They will probably come on to explain that at a later date. And then Reigns pin Styles for the title, ending that feud, and then potentially Reigns and Seth Rollins, they kind of stare at each other for a little while, and Seth Rollins then just grabs his hand and holds his hand in the air. Now, I think that could lead to a small storyline and maybe trying to link up with the Shield again for SummerSlam, because I think Finn Balor will come and join Gallows and Anderson in some sort of form. Maybe we're looking at the Shield versus the Club. One of the major pay-per-views, maybe a Survivor Series. Those are my predictions. I will do a reaction video after it happens. The card looks like it could be a decent pay-per-view. I mean, Payback was actually, despite some of the outcomes, it was actually, as wrestling goes, good to watch. I'd prefer a few women's matches on pay-per-views just rather than the one. And women's wrestling have come a long way recently, but I'll go into that another time. So, if you disagree with me, or if you like some of the points I've made, please put your comments below, and remember to like, share and subscribe. Thanks very much. Bye-bye.